women, I guess, that are interested in these sorts of men. I just find that to be the saddest thing in the world. That you'd be like the sort of weirdo trolls and incels. They're gonna flock to DC to work for Trump. That like you want to go there and you want to talk to those men who barely think of you as a human. I don't understand it, but I guess I'm glad for them that all hope is not lost.
The other real options are that she is a left side, like op, who is like seeding the narrative that these guys are actually gay, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the other acceptable explanation, it might be Occam's razor, is that she's horrible. Like when you meet her,
you don't know. We've never met her,
despite being honestly like how I would describe what I want when blindfolded after taking truth serum. She might be such a dog crap personality that somehow she still manages to be unattractive. And guys would rather say I'm gay than be with her 1 second longer.
We're gonna need an update on this story next week from your wife. But anyway, yeah, we don't know for sure. Okay, that is gonna have to be it because we're way out of time. But thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Brett, for being here. I hope that you have the best 27th trip to Japan ever. We got a lot planned for next week. We're gonna have, as I said, Jordan and Waz are gonna be filling in for Brett in the near future. I'm gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks later on today with both Cenk and Senator Nina Turner. I know we're gonna be talking about Gaza and a lot of other stuff, so definitely join us there. For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.
welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Ritchie. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day. None other than our dear brother from another mother, Mr. Elliot Morgan. Always fascinating to have his analysis. Top story of the day. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, bigotry, verbal abuse, this time of, well, an 80-year-old man. I'm going to take you to the video, then provide the background. Here it is.
We got a video here of a guy who chased down another driver, an 80-year-old driver, to jump into his face and cuss him out. And I don't know the details of what exactly he said. I'm still trying to get in touch with the victim. But I want you to see the video afterwards of when the daughter came to confront the man who had been following them, and someone else actually jumps in to help.
Some racial ass. You talking to an 80-year-old man, done cussed him out, and we gon' no, cause my dad is 80 years old, and seen him. Everybody's seen him, and that's why
like I got him smacked.
I already know he needs to be.
He won't smack me like that. Hey,
my dad 80 years old.
I didn't say
yes, you did.
You like that? You like that?
Stopping in the middle of the
Jump
street.
on me like
That's
that.
my dad. You got
Jump on me like that.
stop.
Yeah,
My dad.
Down. You'll be sleeping in this parking lot.
Dad, if you
I've
want
been in
to.
prison already. I got to about it.
And me,
I did 12 years
too.
already, bitch.
And me, mother too.
Because you want to pick on an old man?
Pick her on. I asked him why he stopped in the middle of the road.
Because he was what he's doing.
Okay.
Okay, my ass, flip-flops.
He don't want smoke. Not for real. Put it up full mass. People are getting tired of bullies. People are getting tired of individuals who seemingly have power, utilizing that power in order to create harm to others. We know that there is an imbalance here. And the fact that the bystander gets involved is evidence to me of a collective psychology. People are simply getting tired of bullies. According to Atlanta Black Star, TikToker Danish brought this incident to light. A viral video captured the aftermath of a road rage confrontation in which a man allegedly yelled racial slurs at an 80-year-old black driver, leading to a heated outburst from the elderly man's daughter and a witness who saw the whole encounter. The elderly man's daughter turns to the bystander to thank him for defending her and defending her father. I want to thank that bystander as well. Quote, "I appreciate that man." The woman turns to the bystander to say the woman posted the video to TikTok but has since hidden it. However, the clip was quickly shared on other platforms and even drew the attention of online sleuths, like that Danish guy who reposted the video on his social media pages and provided commentary. The woman responded to that post, thanking him for sharing the video and praising the male bystander, who she said came to her and her father's rescue. Quote, "Thanks for reposting this video. My dad is harmless. This guy rescued me and my father. He is my hero." Flip-flops is a predator to the senior community. She writes, "Flip-flops made racial slurs before I started recording. This was an awful experience. I am still traumatized and effed up all the way up," the woman commented. Very sad. But there is a nuance to this story that hasn't always been the nuance to stories like this on Indisputable. And the nuance is bystander immediately gets involved in order to provide advocacy for the woman, defense for her father whom he doesn't know. He doesn't know these individuals. But what he does know is that he has a sense of right and wrong. There's some level of moral compass at play here. And that moral compass becomes your true guide in matters like this. And sometimes our moral compass needs to be recalibrated. Because whatever your first knee-jerk reaction is, that is your moral compass. Now, you can change how you respond. You can catch yourself before you react. But if your moral compass is not to defend the defenseless, if your moral compass or knee-jerk reaction is not to stand up and advocate for those who need it, if that is not your instinctive position, you need to recalibrate your moral compass. And a moral compass can be recalibrated. How? Experience, exposure, and environment. You introduce new ease into your life, all of a sudden, your moral measure starts to weigh differently. Big ups to the bystander. Very thankful to a dutiful daughter. When I'm 80 years old, I want my daughter to do the exact same thing for me. All right, dear brother, thoughts?
I mean, my goodness, there's a lot of thoughts here. The one that comes to mind, and this is going to sound a little crazy because I know less about this than you do, Dr. Ritchie, but it's the idea of like quantum superposition where you're watching videos like this. And it's like every possibility of how this could go is existing in potentia. And you're going, all right, how is this going to end? And in that video, you see this guy get confronted. And then he goes, well, are you going to go to prison? You ready to go to prison, basically? And the bystander says, oh, I was there for 12 years and I'm not scared of that. Is probably the worst thing you could possibly hear in that situation from his perspective. When someone goes, oh, I don't mind, I've been there before. You know exactly what's going to happen. That has gone from potential to actuality. And I think he did the smartest thing he could do by walking away and pretending he knew where he was walking. And so, yeah, not to cast stones either, because I think most people have experienced some kind of road rage. I know I have in the past. I think it's hereditary. I'm assuming. I like to think so. And it's never about the road rage. It's always about something else going on in your life, whether it is individual or collective, as you were saying. But at the time, those times where you kind of look at who the driver is, who is, really ticking you off, and you see that it is an older person, the guilt that you feel, and at least in my experience, oh my gosh, I didn't know, and I was so upset, and it puts things in perspective for most people. Instead, this individual tried real hard to kind of dig his heels in, or excuse me, his flip flops in, and try to say that he was right at the end of the day. And so that is the difference. I think there's a way to handle that he did not do it as he should have. And on top of that, he wasn't doing anything right that day because he chose to wear flip flops with khaki pants, and that's the most offensive thing, I think.
That is true. And usually the first couple of decisions you make in the morning time would dictate the rest of your day. All right.
There you go.
He was bound to have a bad day. Okay. Hell of a thing. ICU worker found out that her daughter was a mass shooting victim. Put it with the picture full mass. The attack on a back to school mass at a Catholic church killed 2 children. It left 18 individuals injured. Okay. The mother of one victim was working in the ICU, intensive care unit, when her critically injured daughter arrived at the hospital. This is unbelievable. This daughter is 12 years old. 12 years of age. Sophia Forches was in her first week as a 7th grade student at this Catholic school in Minneapolis. She was rushed to the hospital, underwent emergency surgery, and is still recovering in the ICU where her mother works. Let me just pause on this moment. You have a mother who's dedicated her life to saving the lives of others. You work in an ICU unit. You're responsible for some of the most extreme patient cases that can come inside of that hospital. So you dedicated your life to be a lifesaver. All of a sudden, your child who's 12 years old, just started school, is inside of your ICU. How? How, as a parent, do you cope with that? There's more. Fortress' own mother rushed to work on Wednesday morning in Hennepin Healthcare, downtown Minneapolis, to help with the influx of victims. All right, this is an all hands on deck situation. Quote, before knowing it was her children's school that was attacked and that her daughter was critically injured. This is on the GoFundMe page in the narrative. Fortress's younger brother was also present during the attack, but was not injured. Quote, though he was physically unharmed, the trauma of witnessing such a terrifying event and knowing his sister was critically injured is something no child should have experienced. The GoFundMe page also states, we will include a link to the GoFundMe in the description. A close family friend wrote on the page, quote, Sophia was shot during the attack and is currently in critical condition in the ICU. She has already undergone emergency surgery, and her medical team is doing everything they can to stabilize her. That means that she's not stabilized. Her road ahead will be long, uncertain, and incredibly difficult, but she is strong and she is not alone. 19 people were shot, 16 of whom are children. 2 of the victims, ages 8 and 10, died from their injuries. 3 of the victims are parishioners in their 80s. All are expected to survive, according to Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara. So authorities in Minneapolis, they continue to investigate the shooter's motive. The shooter has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman, who fired 116 rounds through the windows of the church. Westman reportedly attended the Catholic school prior to graduating. ABC5 reported by way of Ryan Raish that they found videos on a YouTube page believed to belong to Westman. The page has since been taken down, but the video seemed to have been posted on Wednesday morning. The video displays an arsenal of weapons and what appears to be a 4-page long manifesto. What is his motive? They are investigating. What is his motive? Why did he have so many guns? Let's investigate that. How was he able to amass so much ammunition? Let's investigate that. How was he able to post that he had all of this ammunition on an open social media or online page? How? Let's investigate that. But they won't investigate that because, see, that's a political hot potato. Because the conclusion after the investigation will be due to American policy. That's why. Maybe the fact that he had access and could obtain so much ammunition legally, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe because we don't have common sense rules and protocols in order to create cooling down periods for individuals who may be experiencing a hot-headed moment. Maybe because we have decided to make this decision of guns in the United States, not based on what works, but based on political ideology and truly political indoctrination. It doesn't make sense. You know, in the United States of America, it is illegal to have over a certain amount of oxygen in your home. It's against the law. because they will tell you that many oxygen cans will create a fire risk for your home. So it's against the law to have an unlimited amount of damn oxygen. But you can have an unlimited number of guns. You can have an unlimited number of bullets to go in the guns. And the government has to legally protect your unlimited right to have the most deadly weapons on the planet Earth. But you cannot have more than 10 cans of oxygen. No, something that already is freely available by way of the planet. It's backwards. And as soon as we don't see it for what it is, as soon as we argue in support of such a ridiculous policy and not look at the nuance of the hypocrisy that's involved in it. For example, you need an ID to vote. That's what the gun carriers would tell you. The ones that just want guns, guns, guns. And I'm not against you having one. You have a right to have one. But they'll tell you, you got to have an ID to vote. But then those same individuals will tell you, you don't need an ID to have a gun. They will say the reason is because the gun, your right to bear arms, that's your constitutional right. No prerequisite required. But doesn't the Constitution also protect your right to vote? So why is it that I need an ID to exercise one right, but I don't need an ID to exercise the other? It's hypocrisy. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
I mean, I don't think there's a lot I can add that would be better than that. I didn't know that about the oxygen tank thing. I think that's something I'm going to put in my pocket and probably use over and over again in the future, because this is going to happen again. And I know that yesterday when I saw this story unfolding, there is this kind of numbness and this instinct to look away and not want to get into the nitty gritty of the actual details of what's going on here, because it is heartbreaking. And it's way easier, I think, for a lot of folks to just go, oh, well, this is just someone who is crazy. This is a bad apple. And I think that is, as the kids say, cope a little bit. I grew up around guns. I think that, there is a conversation to be had that requires nuance on both sides. But when you see stories like this, it is the most unfathomable situation you can imagine. And I mean unfathomable in like the literal sense, because when this woman was working in the ICU in a pediatric ICU. So in that scenario, I can imagine that she probably throughout her entire life and career has thought about those kinds of scenarios happening, the worst case scenario. It's sort of like I've heard of firefighters when they get calls and they worry that it's going to be someone they know. This is, in my opinion, very similar. And so when you hear something like this, I think it activates a certain level of empathy that forces you into actually having those kind of more nuanced conversations. And so I hope people just kind of pause for a second, because we've been through this so many times and it ends up kind of going back and forth and being the same conversation. And I do think some kind of like empathy and slowing down is going to be the only way for us to even enter into those kinds of hopefully productive conversations.
That's correct. And our hearts, our prayers, our positive vibes are with the family and those who are recovering. This is the reason we create good policy. It's a socioeconomic contract between the community and the government. And I'm not trying to politicize it. I just want things to be better. And if we don't pause on moments like this to consider that, yes, policy could actually stop things like this from happening in the future, we're not doing the best that we can do as individuals who understand how policy works. All right, we'll bring updates as they come. I'm going to take a quick break. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable exclusive. Exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Okay, let me read a few comments. Thank you, everyone, for joining the combo. When the Scoop says, I did 12 years already, is such a real statement. And mail of a toast, more people could and should step in when they see this type of situation. That's right. Guam will capsize dragon. I wish a politician would just come out and say, I'm okay with children being shot in schools, so the left can't take our guns. That's what it is, isn't it? And it's such a ridiculous argument because under the presidency of Obama, you had record gun sales. They utilize, oh, the left is going to take your guns as a way to sell more of them. Ironic. Okay. Hell of a thing. Because of a parenting decision, a parent was held at gunpoint, tased by the police because of it. I'm going to give you the details. Here's the video.
Man, what are y'all doing? Turn the car off and throw the keys out. Man, what are y'all doing? I ain't no damn. Hey, all right, Willis, step out of the car, man. All right, good luck. Show your hands. Show your hands. I got kids in this car. What are y'all doing, man?
Walk towards me.
Go. Walk towards us. What are y'all doing? Walk towards us. Man. Dude, hello. Keep walking. No, man. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Keep walking. These are my kids. What are y'all doing? I know. I know. Relax. Man, relax. What are y'all? Taser. What are y'all? Taser. Don't tase me, man. Taser. Stop. Please. Hey, take your first leg. I got it. What are y'all doing, man? Relax. You give me your hand. Come on, man. What are y'all doing? Give me your hand. What are y'all doing to me, man? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing to me, man? Dude, just relax, man. We'll explain to you in a second. Just relax. Stop. Y'all hurt me, bro. Stop pulling back. Y'all hurt me. What are y'all doing to my kids, man? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing, man? Alright, roll them over. What are y'all doing?
You got any weapons on you?
No, man. What are y'all, please, man? We'll explain to you in a second. Just give us some time.
Put it up full mass. I'm going to tell you what this father was doing. Ladarius Butler was held at gunpoint, tased by police. The incident took place May 22nd, 2024, after Mr. Butler and his partner, Jayla Houston, took their 3-year-old son to Children's Hospital, Colorado, because their son was having shortness of breath. The child is referred to as OB in the lawsuit. But the claim states the parents chose to take the child elsewhere after receiving, quote, conflicting medical advice concerning their son, and, quote, felt pressured by medical staff to subject OB to treatments they did not feel were in their son's best interest, end quote. Hospital staff decided to call the police on them for seeking a second opinion, providing the officers with Butler's and Houston's phone numbers. But rather than call the parents, which according to the narrative is what was expected, instead of calling the parents to discuss the situation, the police chose to find them using a tracking device that would ping their cell phones, leading the cops to a Walmart parking lot. Before I give you the additional background to this story, so far you have parents who decided to get a second opinion because of conflicting medical information. Everything seems quite reasonable so far. They are the ones who took their child to the hospital because they still believe in the healthcare system, at least partly. So they take their child to the hospital. Conflicting medical information. They seek a second opinion. Hospital staff, they decide to quasi-report this to the police, gave them a phone number. We'll get into that in a moment. The police, they decide to take it a step further. They decide, well, we're going to take this phone number and we're going to employ a highly sophisticated tracking system to go and arrest them. For what? There's more. The cops then began treating Mr. Butler as a high-risk suspect, even though there was no evidence to support that claim. The claim states, first, the cops used their patrol cars to pin his car from behind and in front while ordering him out of the car at gunpoint, treating him as if he were a violent felon on the run rather than a concerned father looking out for his kids. Two cops then walked up, grabbed him by his wrist, while another cop says, "Tase him," even though he was not resisting arrest. Mr. Butler says seconds before a cop tasered him, causing him to fall to the ground while screaming in pain. The video shows he was complying, but just confused as to why he was jolted awake by armed agents of the state when he was doing nothing illegal. But Butler was tasered, handcuffed, and arrested on a false charge of obstruction, which was later completely dismissed. Quote, this entire incident could have been resolved with a simple phone call, said attorney Kevin Murr in the press release. Quote, instead, once again, the Aurora Police Department chose violence with a SWAT-style ambush that risked the lives of a young father and his 2 children, the statement concluded. Now, I want you to back up for a moment. If you really believe the police were concerned about the child, they put the child in more danger than anyone else here. Let's say the child has an issue with shortness of breath at that time. Don't you think that perhaps SWAT coming down like they are some kind of fugitive squad, pinning the vehicle, yelling, screaming, and then tasering, the dad, don't you think that will create even more anxiety, shortness of breath? The point is, they didn't give a damn about the child, in my opinion. They didn't give a damn about what actually occurred. They seemingly did not give a damn about the protocol that they were encouraged to follow. So by judging the body camera footage of that 2024 arrest, the Aurora Police Department has learned nothing from its past mistakes, because the video shows a group of cops surrounding Mr. Butler, who was sleeping inside of his own car along with his children in a Walmart parking lot while his partner shopped inside. They're just chilling. They're just waiting for the shopping to be done. One day after arresting Butler, Aurora police shot and killed another black man named Hyland Lewis. Mr. Lewis was committing the high crime of holding a phone in his hand with his arms raised, complying with their orders, resulting in another lawsuit. Let us not forget this one. A young, innocent, gentle soul named Elijah McClain. The Aurora Police Department, the same agency, in 2019, killed the 23-year-old Elijah McClain, who was doing nothing but walking down the street, minding his own business, when he was confronted by a group of cops who detained him because they said, well, he looks suspicious to us. The Aurora Police Department ended up settling the McClain's family complaint for $15 million. It was a record settlement for Colorado at the time. Now, Mr. Butler is suing that same police agency, a law enforcement agency that is currently under a consent decree due to his, quote, pattern and practice of violating state and federal law through racially biased policing. That's according to Integra Assure, the company overseeing the consent decree. Listed as defendants in this particular lawsuit are the Aurora police officers, Caleb Perella, Adrian Arcerda, Evan Ryder, Michael Baer, Daniel Rubino, Chandler Phillips, and Sergeant Anthony Spano. Perella was also named in another lawsuit for pulling a black man out of his car, tasering him over an improper license plate. This was back in 2021. Perella was also investigated and cleared for shooting another man who was the victim of a theft after that man pulled a gun on the man who stole his backpack. He shot the wrong human being. Now, here we are. And they've had a bunch of police chiefs within a very short amount of time, which is indicative of leadership not being able to transform the culture. Well, when you can't transform the culture, you have to transfer it, which means the individuals who make the culture adverse to progress and change, they no longer need to be employed there. And to the politicians who are involved in the selecting, appointing, and approving of the police chief, understand this. You're not going to find a police chief to clean up your mess. If you want this to actually work, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves, do what may be unpopular to do, stop hiring police chiefs to do your dirty work, and get rid of those damn bad cops yourself. You have remedy and resolution to do so. Use it. All right. Very sad. And dear brother, we're talking about a father who sought a second opinion about a medical decision, and the police were called on him. Now, it seems as if the hospital, they didn't want the police to arrest him, but still, why involve the police? And why did the police decide to utilize the phone number in order to arrest the father for a medical decision that had not been complete as of yet? Those are the questions. What say you?
Yeah, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that hospital and understand a little more what the thought process was there. I'm sure there are details that we just don't know for good reason. I don't know that they should be made public. But reading this story, it was just, I mean, it was nuts because it's whenever these things happen and they happen over and over and over again, there is this tendency to go, okay, well, that was just a misunderstanding. That was a one-off. This is just an isolated incident. But even this in this particular story, you find as you read it, it just keeps going and going and going where, oh, actually the next day something else happened. And also this department has done this and this and this. And I think at the end of the day, what this is it's a microcosm for how, as you were saying, this is a systemic problem. And this is baked into whatever the culture is over there. And I don't know what the solution is. Because when 5 years ago, when people are talking about abolish or defund the police, you can make an argument that maybe rhetorically that wasn't the most effective phrasing. But when you see stories like this, some kind of reform seems like the obvious answer. Like getting into the weeds a little bit and going, look, we have to pull this out by the root and not continue to try to just replace who's on top and see if that solves it. Because whatever is going on in Aurora is very serious and needs to be addressed in a way, and hopefully it can make people think about it in terms of what's going on culturally for the entire nation. Because if this is going on in Aurora, it's surely going on elsewhere.
That's right. Well said. We will bring updates as updates develop in this lawsuit. We got more on the other side, indisputable. Stick and stay.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh, and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, for this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah, I'm like this, I hit 3 cars, I don't know. So you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad, really sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't wanna keep hitting your cars and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat. Out.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
information. You are much needed.
TYT! TYT!
The place is like 95% TYT on.
Which is my favorite channel. We're getting that message out.
Frank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back. All right, let me read a couple of comments. Thankful to everyone. TO_1790. The blood-drenched NRA would never allow you to investigate that. That's right. That's right. Police, the White House, even in a worst case scenario, I don't see any justification to pull a gun on the man in the first place, let alone tase him. How are the officers not being charged with excessive use of force? It's a great point. The fact that they can get away with excessive use of force without ever being charged or possibly being suspended is already insane to me, because there's no statute that gives you immunity for excessive use of force. If you try that at your job, I guarantee you, you'll go to jail. There's no protection for excessive use of force by law, but there seems to be this protection for it by culture. All right, good point. Okay. Got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel great! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
This is why it happens, people. So this lady stopped because she's upset that we're flying upside down flags. She said, "Why are you flying upside down flags?" We told her that this country's in distress because we have a military occupation and that we are military veterans protesting this military occupation. And here's how the conversation went.
I get that you're a Donald Trump supporter, but the Posse Comitatus Act says that the United States military cannot be used in domestic law enforcement. I'm not surprised that you don't know.
The problem that it is using them with you guys. He's saving lives. Okay? Donald Trump is saving lives by using the Coast Guard or the National Guard to save black people. Black people are killing black people, okay? And this government.
Oh, wait, I thought you weren't wasting your breath on us anymore. You're blocking the bus lane.
Put it up full mass here. I recall someone saying how much they love the uneducated. That would be Donald Trump who made that quote. MAGA Karen blocks bus lane to defend Trump's federal takeover of the city of D.C. A defender of Donald Trump pulled a car in Washington, D.C., blocked the bus lane and yelled at protesters, all to shout, quote, Black people are killing Black people, end quote. Internet personality Jolly Good Ginger captured the incident. Also shared that after he stopped recording, she allegedly yelled the N-word as she drove off. If true, obviously, this is a real champion for racism, not for Black people or Black people living. Quote, this lady randomly stopped, went full racist. After I stopped recording, she yelled the N-word, hard ER, out of the car as she drove off. And Jolly Good Ginger, we appreciate you making that clarification, but we would have, if you didn't say hard ER, we would have already known. Now, one of the protesters cited the Posse Act, okay? And this is comitatus, which bars the military from participating in civilian law enforcement. There are rare exceptions, such as what they call a genuine rebellion. California Governor Gavin Newsom is currently suing the Trump administration and Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, under that same act for deciding to deploy National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles during the ICE protest earlier this year. Now, to the bigger story, to the macrocosm of this story, what is Trump doing? He's pushing his limitations. And by pushing his limitations, and there's no actual absolute authority that stops him, he thus enhances his power. So if he can make the argument to take over a city, Washington, D.C., what's to stop him from making that same argument to take over Chicago? If he can make the case to take over basically authority from a governor, California, what's to stop him from doing it to you in, I don't know, Louisiana? The point is, this is not about partisan politics. See, you don't have a guy who's there caring because he cares about some fundamental policy or because he gives a damn about you individually or your particular demographic personally. It's not because he believes in conservative values or Christian doctrine. It's because he believes in one ideology, and that's the ideology of personal power. And that is his driving bias. That is his driving focus. So when he makes decisions that make you scratch your head sometimes, or perhaps makes you decide to change your particular view on your values because your true Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, has decided to change his, it's because his measure is power, not you. All right. Dear brother, thoughts here.
I mean, these folks are just so fragile. It is bless this woman's heart. You know, she's driving around, and can you even imagine how horrific it would be to see someone with upside down flags and just completely lose your mind over it? Thank goodness they weren't burning the flags. They probably would have been thrown in prison at this point. I think that there's a kind of sick irony too in how people who are these massive Trump supporters who you just feel like it seems like they fell out of Facebook sometimes. They've just been having a diet that consists on nothing but right-wing memes, and they have no idea what the real world is actually like. But they have convinced themselves, they've Jedi mind tricked themselves into thinking that they're like patriots when they're talking and screaming at people who are actual veterans who know their stuff and who are practicing their free speech. So who's patriotic in this situation? I also think that we should probably have some kind of a stopwatch for the N-word, because when these altercations start happening, I just like look at my watch and go, all right, 5, 4th, and there it is. And it is sad, but it is also predictable.
Very predictable and always disguised as, but we care about Black people. We're not racist. Yeah. All right, we'll bring you updates if there's one to bring. Church leaders. Church leaders arrested in trafficking ring of forced labor, human trafficking. Put them up full mass. This is going to shock some people. Church leaders, David Taylor, 53, Michelle Brannon, 56, have been arrested in an alleged trafficking ring that solicited $50 million in donations. Federal authorities arrested the alleged leaders of a multi-state human trafficking ring that they say lured in trafficking victims under false pretenses and had them then solicit donations under the guise that they were working for a religious ministry, according to the narrative from prosecutors. Now, this is going to be a story that has a lot of twists and turns. So David Taylor, 53, Michelle Brannon, 56, they were arrested on Thursday, August 27th, after a federal grand jury did, in fact, indict them of 10 counts, including conspiracy to commit forced labor, that's called slavery, and money laundering, conspiracy, hiding where the money actually comes from or where it goes, according to a Justice Department news release. Taylor was apprehended in Durham, North Carolina. Brannon was apprehended in Tampa, Florida. The case is being prosecuted in the Eastern District of Michigan. Taylor and Brannon, according to the statement, implored victims to work at call centers and solicit donations for their supposed ministry. That's according to the indictment. Victims also allegedly forced to work as Taylor's personal servants, which he called his, quote, armor bearers, the indictment said. Now, I'm going to give you the inside of how the alleged operation actually worked. The call centers, which were part of this operation, call centers they set up in Michigan, Missouri, Florida, and Texas, received millions of dollars in donations each year, which Taylor and Brannon mainly used to purchase luxury properties, luxury vehicles. That's according to the indictment. Since 2014, the scheme brought in around $50 million in what has been termed cricket donations, the prosecutors said in the news release. Neighbors in Avila told Fox 13 they were stunned to see the federal investigation in their community as their $8 million home was raided. There's more. Quote, it's very surprising to hear that type of thing was going on right in your backyard, said Sheila Mulligan. Ms. Mulligan said the mansion that was raided is among the largest she's seen in the neighborhood, according to records. It's a 10-bedroom, 10 and a half, bathroom, 28,000 square foot home sitting on about 6 acres. It was sold in 2022 for more than $8 million. Quote, everyone was like, how could a pastor afford to live in a house like that? I mean, even some of the people who live there couldn't afford to live in that particular house. She said, quote, I hope it's not true, but if it is, he deserves everything he's going to get. The indictment states that Taylor and Brannon initiated their scheme in 2014, utilizing an organization known as the Kingdom of God Global Church. It has been formally referred to as Joshua Media Ministries International. Taylor refers to himself as the apostle of the church, naturally, while Brannon was his executive director. The good apostle here would solicit individuals from across the country to work in his call centers and set goals for them to achieve. Either collect a certain amount of money in donations for his ministry or make a certain number of phone calls to donors, according to the indictment. The indictment says the people making the calls under the threat of punishment were told by Taylor and Brannon to, quote, falsely state that the donated funds would be spent on charitable works, such as providing water wells for impoverished communities overseas, or supporting victims of human trafficking. The irony of it. It's called a call list and a call script, okay? And usually when you have a call list and a call script, you may also have training, all right? The indictment also says that Taylor demanded that victims cut off their ties with any family members, with any friends who questioned him or questioned the church. If true, that sounds like a cultic behavior. Workers were not allowed to date. They were not allowed to see others in a romantic atmosphere or to work outside the call center. Employees were required to sleep at the call center itself according to the indictment. The indictment added that if Taylor's workers disobeyed instructions or failed to reach the set monetary quotas, their sleep would then be restricted, food restricted, or there would be physical abuse, according to the indictment. Taylor and Brannon were each indicted on 8 counts of forced labor, 1 count of conspiracy to commit forced labor, and 1 count of money laundering conspiracy. Based on the allegation, based on the counts for forced labor, it sounds as if they have what's called cooperating witnesses or cooperating victims. This is very important to the process of justice. We have individuals who have been victimized, who are willing to go through the very difficult and chaotic process of a judicial and investigatory process. When you have a person willing to do that, man, typically it comes with a lot of soul searching first, because most people rather just be free and move on with their lives, because the process is difficult to endure, especially when you're talking about someone who has influence, who has authority, who has people. Some people may criticize me for this story. I'm standing up for the victims. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
The word that comes to mind here is, I hesitate to say because it's one of those 4-letter words that starts with E and ends with evil. That's what it is. And that's not a word I throw around very often because it can kind of get it's a big word and it's very easy to kind of clump everything into that word. But this is evil. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting. And I hope these individuals get the book thrown at them and honestly spend the rest of their lives in prison, because this isn't just, there are the victims, absolutely. And good on them for standing up and going through this process that I'm sure is incredibly difficult. But this is when you start mixing this kind of thing with church and religion and an actual genuine belief, and you are taking from people who believe that they are giving you money so that you will put it toward charitable actions, there is a level, I think, of disgust there that is really hard to calculate. I grew up going to a mega church. I don't look favorably upon them these days. I don't know if this is a mega church or not, but it does remind me of that because they have a reputation for having a little bit of corruption. But this takes it to a whole nother level. And I don't know what happens to a person where they get to that level that they're willing to inflict that kind of pain and horror onto others. So good on the people for standing up to them. And yeah, I hope they get everything they deserve.
Yeah, and this story has so many nuances because you don't only have the part where the scheme seems on its face to be immoral, right? It just seems like that. But then you have the people who are part of it. They seem to be forced into the scheme, which is different than a typical call center. Where individuals get to either say yay or nay as far as working there. We'll bring you updates as they come. All right, dear brother, always fascinating to have your brilliant analysis on the show. Tell people how they can follow you and check out your great work.
Oh, thank you for having me. You can check out my Substack at substack.com/Elliot Morgan. And you can also check out my videos on Rebel HQ. And thank you for having me, Dr. Richard.
Thank you, my friend. Until next week, have a great weekend. All right. Remember, we got the bullpen coming up. Got a lot more. Stick and stay.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
Ring the bell on YouTube today. You know what it does? It actually rings the bell at my house. It's super annoying, but if you do it, it just keeps on ringing. Oh, plus you can find out when the show is live and whenever we have new clips. Ring the bell. Oh no, not again.
How would I look walking the dog on the White House lawn? Would that be?
You know how much it costs you to start an account on tyt.com? Nothing. It's free. So you just go and register in about 2.5 seconds. Then you can chat with us during the show. We read those comments the most often. You chat with each other. Tons of people have become friends there. We're super interactive. We do a lot of polls for our paying members. We sometimes do polls that drive the direction of the show. So that's amazing. There's no other show that's this interactive. And our home base for that is tyt.com. Come join us right now.
When you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I think I was starting to think I don't want to do one thing, and I did live up to that.
Well, mission accomplished then, because Dave was a geologist, and now he's helped found the Young Turks. Even within TYT, you've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So if you want to do different things, you nailed it. All right, last story to end on is a Dave story. Whenever there was something like obvious, glaring, he would go up and ask them about it. Like it'd be like a giant church, right? And somebody's standing in front of it. The usual Dave go, pull up right in front of him. Be like, hey, do you know where there's a church around here? And they're like, right here. It's right here.
Practical jokes. Spice up life a little.
We've been around for about 20 years and we have about 20 billion views. Am I proud of that? Hell yeah, I am. We put out 20 billion messages in a bottle. Have we helped to move now 2 generations, millennials and Gen Z, to become progressive? Yes, those numbers are real. We moved generations. Were we the only ones? Of course not. But we have been the largest online news show for now decades. Cool news, shoptyt.com now has books. There's a whole bunch of books there. You're gonna be shocked to find out that they're largely progressive. Of course! Ryan Grimm's book, We've Got People, is there. It's a fantastic story from Jesse Jackson to Bernie Sanders to AOC that explains the progressive movement probably better than any book I've ever read. Speaking of awesome books, my dad's got a book out called The Original Young Turk, where he goes from the poorest olive farmer you ever met in your life to living there.
All right, welcome back. A lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. Very thankful for everyone for joining the conversation live. Melba Toe says, absolutely outrageous. Every parent has a right to a second opinion. You're damn right. You're damn right. LP_revolt_dragon says, sue the hospital, too, for false accusations and supplying a phone number to the cops to allow the attack. I believe it was a form of swatting. And I would imagine that HIPAA would apply as far as the sharing of personal or personally identifiable information. You have a child there. The guardians are the one who brought the child there. Seems as if by proxy, the rule would apply to the parents as well. So I do hope they explore that. Yeah. And Lady F&T, member for 25 months, double doser. Thank you so much for that. You can educate the uneducated, but you can't fix stupid. There you go. That is the quote of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. You can educate the uneducated, but you can't fix stupid. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. All right, let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. Let me first say thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone. This week we hit a milestone that's rarely achieved. Naturally, you can get Indisputable live on multiple linear streaming services. You can get us live on virtually any podcast. But you can also get us live on YouTube and find our clips there or Facebook. But we reached over 1 billion views because of you. Thank you. I'm humbled. I have the best production team and the best audience on the planet Earth. Thankful for every single one of them. All right, I'm going to get right into it because I want to maximize the time with our dear brother. We have with us, as promised earlier in the week, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Jamal Bryant, fearless leader. We've been talking about the boycott of Target, economic withdrawal, and also how the CEO stepped down, but it's really, they're playing games with you, okay? The CEO is still there. And then Rick Ross being pushed around in a Target, and our dear brother provided some commentary that we supported on the program earlier this week. Pastor Brian, good to see you, dear brother. How are you?
Don't worry about none of that, Doc. Before we go into anything, I'm your real friend behind your back. I'm an 80s baby, and growing up in the 80s, you would beg your mother, let's stop at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And before you could get to the drive-through, is a one sign under McDonald's, 1 billion served. So I want to throw confetti out my pocket. I don't want you to go by that through too fast. 1 billion views is absolutely astounding. So I wanted to salute you. I didn't want us to just run by that. Now,
thank you, brother.
After you said that, I don't know nothing you asked me. So you got to ask me again. I got lost because I'm your friend enough to tell you I'm celebrating you, but I'm jealous. I want you to know 1 billion people have not heard me preach yet. So
brother,
I want you to know you stretching my faith. Now, what are you asking me, Doc? What are you asking me?
Let me tell you, thank you for that, dear brother. And I'm not your competition. I'm just an example of what can be done. That's it. That's what you are for me. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you're going to be mentioned in your 1 billion real soon, brother. So I promise you that.
Your lips to God's ears, as my grandma.
Amen, man. Thank you, brother. So the target economic withdrawal. I'm calling it an economic withdrawal at this point because they've played games so many times with just doing the bare minimum in order to, because boycotts are temporary.
Yes.
Right. And they decided to prolong this. So the CEO stepped down, but they kind of played musical chairs with the guy. And then you have Rick Ross, who posted a very prominent video in which he's having a good time joking and being pushed around inside of a Target store. It could be connected to his disconnect to the movement and the culture. This is still one of the most successful, if not the most successful, modern day economic withdrawal or boycott that I've seen in our community. The reason is because the numbers don't lie.
Right.
A significant decrease in their bottom line, which is what economic withdrawal or boycotting is about. And the simple request, I remember when you had me and Senator Nina Turner, two others, talk about this in an open format in Atlanta.
Yes.
And the requests were simple, but they rather lose, brother, than allow black folk to win, and they win at the same time. That doesn't make sense to me. So give us an update.
All I will say to you, Doc, is look at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
It took 12 days for White Rage to make a company shift their policy.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken 5 months and Target has not adjusted anything. It is so flagrant that they feel emboldened to reward bad behavior. Brian Cornell, who was the president and CEO of Target, has been promoted to be chair of the board. What is significant is that while they've lost $12 billion in valuation, as chair of the board, he gets a raise, has greater influence. He's able to name who is on the board, and his COO is now the CEO. And so obviously, I believe that we've got to put our foot on the gas with no brakes. Because even in the transition, in their official statement, they blamed tariffs. They blamed the economy and didn't even acknowledge what is the impact of the boycott. And so I think we've got to keep the fight and the fire on until they find themselves just crying out, no mas, no mas. That's where we are at this point.
Absolutely. Jordan, let's put up the picture of the CEO, the original CEO that Pastor Jamal Bryant was dealing with, because that is the CEO who received the initial invite to have a conversation.
Let me add to you. I'm sorry, Doctor. What is interesting is the new CEO does not start, drum roll, till the first day of Black History Month. He takes on his position February 1st. And so it's not even a slap in the face right now, it's spitting in our face.
That is, wow. Okay. All right, let's put the CEO back up. I want you to give us a rundown of every opportunity you gave this guy. He's still the guy in charge.
Yes.
All right. So it's not as if he's not the guy in charge. He's still the CEO as of present.
Yes.
For those who may not know, brother, because there's always a few people who don't know exactly what happened here and why we're doing this. Give us the why again, and give the opportunities that were missed by the current CEO.
With pleasure. 27 companies backed away from DEI after the inauguration of Donald John Trump. We thought it prudent to just focus on one company at a time And glaringly amongst them was Target, because in no uncertain terms, they have been invited to the cookout. Black people spend in earnest $12 million a day. They had become such a beloved commodity in the community. You know you in the family when you get a nickname. We renamed them Tarjay.
Tarjay.
And so as a consequence, we sent out a letter to them asking for them to really give some acknowledgement. And at every turn, they have missed the alley-oop. We asked for $250 million to be deposited into black banks, which is crumbs, considering that we spend $12 million a day. So that's not even a week's worth of wages. Number two, they made a commitment after the murder of George Floyd of $2 billion to be invested into the black community. They said they would turn over the receipts on July 30th. It is now August 29th, and we have nothing. They are, Dr. Ritchie, on 27 PWI campuses. We asked them to adopt 6 HBCUs that have a business program and adopt that business program. I don't even need a store there, but walk with that business program to show young entrepreneurs how to skate.
That's right.
The fourth one was we gave them a blank canvas. Write out your own schematic of DEI. We understand DEI is now illegal, but somebody coming in, black or brown, how do they carve a way to the C-suites? And they refused all of them. And so even to this day, at this very moment, our hands are still open for a conversation and to try to meet somewhere in a common denominator, and they have failed to do so.
There you go. All right. So we have the effective offense.
Yeah.
We have the response from the community.
Yes.
And I want to get into another nuance because we talked about it on Indisputable. I had to put a bunch of black leaders from the church who took money from Target during this conflict. And this is a very old playbook. And I said on that day that Target, you're not going to be able to put this black leader against that black leader and purchase this black organization and put money in the hands of that black organization and think the boycott is going to stop, because they're not the ones who started it. They're not the grassroots individuals who are supporting it.
Right.
And I don't know how the money of it worked out behind the scenes. I know it happened publicly. You talked about it as well. I was heartbroken, dear brother, to be quite honest with you, that something like that would still take place during this era of where we are. So tell us where that conversation is. Are they still trying to pivot black folk against black leadership who has decided to economically withdraw? And are those efforts working, or are they not, in your opinion?
No, I think because of the grace of technology, people are able to see in real time who are the real friends of the community and who are foes. Part of why I called the Black church to the fast is that millennials and Gen Z don't see the Black church as a relevant entity. And so I was trying to carve a path for the Black church to re-enter the conversation. This step by those conventions really pushed us further back. But the movement is taking on traction of its own, and I'm grateful that there are churches across the country who stand in lockstep. That receiving of funds is dismally disappointing, but it is not going to thwart our efforts.
Yeah, well said. And my stance remains the same.
I'm
if you're
grateful.
part of a ministry that would do such a thing, run.
Yes.
We don't have your best interests at heart. Let's now talk about where you go from here. We talked about it a little bit in the beginning of this. It seems as if Target is going to attempt to stick to their guns and not be supportive, or at least coordinate thoughtfully with the movement. For me and to many, it's very simple. The requests are simple. Having the conversation is simple. And I reminded my audience a few days ago that bigots would meet with Dr. King. They did.
Yeah.
Like extreme bigots that we would all say, these are some of the most hateful human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
They would take meetings with Dr. King. And it begs the question, are we saying, or is Target leadership saying that those bigots are more open than they are?
I think they are operating in dissociative arrogance because they really thought that they could just wait it out. They've gone through 2 quarters of a slump. You're much more steeped in economics than I am. And now into the 3rd quarter. My next hurdle, Dr. Ritchie, is if we're able to cancel Christmas, they can't come back.
They can't come back. That's right.
Yeah. No, all I have to do is keep the line tight through Black Friday, and Target will hit the bullseye, and will be facing utter collapse.
Man, so let me characterize this. At a point in a boycott where the consumer habit has had to change for so long, it ceases, it stops being a boycott and it becomes a new consumer habit, meaning those consumers find other things or other expressions of their dollar. They go and they shop other places. They found boutiques and et cetera, where they find their dollar and their presence is respected. So now you're getting into that point where you're not just changing the temporary landscape of a big American company. You're now changing the consumerism or consumer habits of those individuals who have disposable income to go and shop at, as we used to call it, Target. In addition to that, these folks have children. And their children are now being influenced to do the exact same thing. And they have influence over community where they are withdrawing. And as I've made this mention before, it ain't just white folk that got Black friends. Black folks got white friends too. We got allies out here standing with us in this. All of that coupled, you coming up on your Christmas time and your Thanksgiving and your big shopping eras. Well, guess what? You got a lot of competition out here, Target, already. And don't think that the competition isn't trying to take advantage of the fact that you have a deficiency right now.
Yeah, this is the very first time in the history of Black people that we have boycotted, on your term, economic withdrawal, one white institution and pushed people to another white institution. I shudder that we rejoice in the triumph of Costco. While it is laudable, I think that the focus has got to be on Black entrepreneurship and Black business.
Yes.
And so that's why we partnered with the Black Chamber of Commerce and those who go to targetfast.org to sign along with us, receive a digital directory of 150,000 Black businesses around the country. So I'm excited to see a uptick of spending and thriving within Black businesses. And I hope that those who are standing with us in economic withdrawal will make economic deposits in Black business.
Well said. We're going to make sure we provide a link to that in the description for producers. Let's do that. Give out that website again, Pastor Brian.
Targetfast.org. If you'll go and register within 30 minutes, you'll receive our digital directory.
Beautiful. Good stuff. Who's next, brother?
Brother, I really thought Target would be finished by now.
Well, they close to it.
I didn't think we'd be doing the dance this long. So we got to spin the bottle and see. But there are 27 people that's on our list.
Okay. All right. We're going to have you back anytime. Brother, you have an open door, open opportunity here. We appreciate the fight. And I want to say this for everybody who's watching. It's not easy to do this kind of work, especially in the Christian context of major ministry. Jamal Bryant is a major ministry context himself. And it takes a lot because I'm sure, brother, you got some conservatives at your church. I'm sure, brother, you have some folk that are connected financially to some of these institutions. All right. And then just the internet chatter of individuals who are just dogmatically racist and folks that just don't understand what you're attempting to do. So I want to take a moment to say, I understand, my team understands, and this audience understands, dear brother, and we stand with you. And I'm always there for you. And I appreciate the stance you have to take every day.
No, I'm grateful. Thank you so much for being an ally, a comrade, and a friend.
Absolutely.
And I don't take it lightly or for granted. I appreciate you.
Same here, dear brother. All right, we're going to have you back, and we'll bring updates. Once again, Target Fast, is it .org?
.org.
Targetfast.org, targetfast.org. I'm asking all of our allies to make sure you are there, okay? Appreciate you, dear brother.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Remember, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.